1.8% chance. That's what the Mavericks had. Man, oh man, they are really fighting the rigged allegations right now for the draft lottery. Holy moly.
I don't want to dive into being a conspiracy theorist right away, but I'm going to dive into being a conspiracy theorist right away. Like this is it is, and everyone knew it was going to happen once Dallas got into the top 3. Like there's no doubt that like it was so obviously telegraphed that that's what's going to happen. And you know, I thought the year after the Pelicans traded AD, then getting that number 1 pick with Zion was shameless in a bit.
Yeah.
This is the most shameless thing I've ever seen from the NBA. Like,
yeah.
You do like, look, you have a borderline credibility crisis with the lottery now. Like, you kind of rub this in our faces and like, look, you can tell me that it's not rigged. I hear you. You're just conveniently also going to tell me that the year after Dallas traded Luka and basically nuked their entire franchise, that they conveniently come up with a number 1 pick to draft Cooper Flagg, like with a 1.8% chance, which also, again, kind of wild when you think about Atlanta jumping last year too, all the way to number 1. But it's like, look, I hear you. NBA. I hear you. I know we're talking about the integrity and all that stuff in the lottery. I don't know, man. Like you got to televise it next year. You can't tell me this. You cannot tell me that there wasn't something a little like there's some smoke here. You can't tell me this was a little shiesty.
You definitely need to do it like the Powerball now. Like we need to see every aspect of the situation going down.
You got to find a true neutral. You got to send it to Switzerland or something and get like a real like mediator in there and have this picked out. The Dallas Mavericks winning the draft lottery.
Well, but not even that, dude. It's like Utah, Washington, and Charlotte having the best odds, and Charlotte getting the best out of that with the 4th pick is like, bro, not one of them even got remotely close.
No, I mean, those are the big losers when you really think about it. Because, right, like 3 teams jump. I mean, Dallas at 1, San Antonio at 2. That's a huge get for them. And now, obviously, instantly the rumor mills are churning, namely with Giannis and with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
It's hard to really argue against that when you see what's available and what they have now. The Sixers, huge at number 3. I mean, obviously they are aiming a little higher, but at the end of the day, the name of the game for them was not losing that pick to OKC. And so here you are, top 3, very much not doing that. But yeah, I mean, Charlotte, Utah, Washington, New Orleans, like Brooklyn all the way down at 8. Like that's brutal. That's brutal luck. Yeah. But I mean, and it is like, it's the argument now of, you know, do you just level the draft odds and just like have it based on the record the way that, you know, for example, the NFL is where, you know, give these franchises a chance to rebuild. I mean, honestly, like it's weird with Detroit because Detroit got Cade because they did get that number 1 pick the 1 year. But like Detroit has notoriously had bad lottery luck here the past few years, despite all those like higher, you know, despite being the worst team in the league, essentially. Like the year they think about, like they got Osar at 5, but they had a way worse record than 5 that year. Like, yeah, I think too, like if you're a fan of Charlotte, if you're a fan of Utah, if you're a fan of Washington, like you got to feel pretty hopeless, like watching this all go down in a draft that we've all talked about being extremely loaded, in a draft where the top 2 prospects here are pretty heralded. I mean, namely, obviously, Cooper Flagg has been one of the higher rated number 1. I mean, it's also weird when you had Wemby recently. So it's like, how do you rate higher than Wemby? But like Cooper Flagg seems to be one of those guys. Like he looks like a true franchise difference maker. And, you know, for Dallas, this is an entirely new lifeline. Like you're going to pump Cooper Flagg into this. And Nico Harrison already shut down because I mean I think there were pretty early rumors initially that Dallas might even look like, do you put yourself in the honest trade conversation when you have the number 1 overall pick? Something that I think with Cooper on the board that most teams would be interested in. They came out pretty early and said we're going to stick with that. And I mean, again, this is the bitter part too about Kyrie still being down post ACL. But you know, you look at that roster next year and you go, hey, we got healthy Anthony Davis, hopefully. We've got Klay Thompson. We've got Cooper Flagg in the lineup. And, like, all of a sudden it looks a whole lot better. Like, again, it's the Luka trade is still unforgivable. I'm not suggesting that. But if you knew how this was going to play out, it does suddenly look a lot more like tenable.
Well, it does seem like maybe Nico might have known how it was going to
No,
play.
I'm not bad. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like, right, what was the backdoor of the handshake deal? And maybe
Yeah.
Nico's taking all this flack, but he made a deal with the devil the whole time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, look, it looks very suspect on its face for sure.
Well,
There's no way around it. I mean, look, it's a credibility problem that the NBA is running into here. Like it's hard to beat the rigged allegations when this this is straight out of a storybook.
Yep. No, I like it. It's too good to be true, which is usually when that happens, there's something else going on. Out of it, I know you mentioned Dallas most likely going with Cooper Flagg. I would imagine San Antonio sticks with their potential pick as well. I know that's one that could get flipped.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know, Justin. They're a real logical Giannis destination.
Oh, I know. Do you think it's more likely San Antonio trades the 2 or the Sixers trade the 3?
Well, it's for different reasons. So, I don't think the Sixers are going to trade for Giannis or do anything like that. I could see the Sixers maybe trading back if they're able to get a quality player and another high pick. I don't see why they would do that, honestly. That seems kind of up in the air. I mean, Dylan Harper is probably going to go too. It's hard to see Dylan Harper going anywhere other than that. And so at that point, yeah, I mean, I think San Antonio, the untouchables are Wemby and De'Aaron Fox, but I think when you look at everything else that they could potentially put on the board,
yeah.
I mean, you just got Castle coming off the Rookie of the Year. You've got a few young players. The number 2 is huge. That obviously goes a long way too when Harper's projected to be as high as it is. Maybe you get a third team involved. I think there's some potential rumors there, but I don't know. You have to do a little bit of work there. I don't think this is by.
If you're the Sixers, do you try to get involved and be a part of it and get up to 2 using the 3, like you're saying, to maybe go try to get Harper?
I mean, what do you give up with it though? That's the problem. I'd love to go up and get Harper. Is it going to be? I mean, because at 3 you're going to have options. Flagg and Harper are going to go 1 and 2. I don't think there's a lot of it would be stunning otherwise. 3 is very much up in the air. You've got VJ Edgecombe, you've got Ace Bailey, you've got Trey Johnson. I don't think any of those have necessarily run away with it right away. I mean, it feels like it's going to be Edgecombe or Bailey. I do think there's a little bit of a tier there.
It would be. And listen, if the NBA is trying to do storylines and rig things to happen so that other storylines are possible, like the Mavericks, I'm just saying we already got Bryce Harper. Why not add another Harper to the Philly sports fandom, and then he can just
what? No, that would go. You already know both that meetup would happen within 2 days.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't think it will happen, but that's what I'm saying is listen, if the NBA is willing to do some backdoor handshake deals, maybe that's something Philly can get involved on.
I don't think the Sixers should trade out here. I do think they should take a player. I think you add somebody young to because look, at the end of the day, I still think I'm kind of resetting around young player Maxey, McCain. Those are the guys that I'm more focused on at this point. Obviously, with Joel getting surgery, you try to get him healthy. And if you get him healthy, everything is house money there. Hopefully, Paul George bounces back in year 2 and you can get anything out of that. But even at that point, if PG bounces back this year, I'm still probably trying to move him. It just doesn't really match the timeline. The only way that the timeline shifts back to winning now is if Embiid is just clearly healthy. If Embiid is 100% an MVP caliber Embiid, then we're having a different conversation. But it's just that's a huge if right now.
Well, and you do kind of like the idea of you were kind of alluding to Maxey, McCain, whoever this third pick ends up being. That's a good young 3 right there that you guys can start to develop that also can be around a Paul George and an Embiid and obviously still be contributing and doing its thing. But yeah, it's that backup plan that, if you find someone that's willing to take Paul George or whatnot, maybe you do it and do what you got to do from there on out. But at least taking this third pick adds that third younger option to the roster. And then you kind of have that 5 with Maxey, McCain, Embiid, Paul George, whoever the third pick is, and you kind of go from there. Yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes, but I'm kind of with you. I think the Sixers should take the pick just because of how bleak, if injuries happen, which they seem to show that they have been. It's not great. So I think you got to.
Oh, it's like I just don't know. Like, I don't really know what the win now move would be for the squad. Like, I don't think KD pushes them over necessarily. And I don't even know that they really have the war chest to go get KD without moving. It would require moving guys that I just think are too essential for your future at this point. Like, I don't want to totally mortgage the future to go all in on this team because, like, just frankly, they haven't earned it. Like, they haven't earned the trust to go all in right now. That does matter. So
they've earned, in my mind, they've earned the trust to, like, blow it up, reset almost. Like, you're closer to that than you are all in my opinion.
Yeah, 100.
This last season, I mean, you know, I don't think we're there yet, and maybe some are, but we're gonna get to a point where it's like, do you consider moving Embiid? You know?
I think we're already there. I think we are 100% having that conversation. Like, I don't think you're there where it happens, but I think if the right deal comes out, you absolutely start to think about it. And I mean, I think that talk only gets louder if the first half of the season for the Sixers goes south.
Yeah.
I mean, if it starts off the way it did last year, like, you're going to get people calling for change here pretty quick. I mean, again, it's like at some point you just got to admit that the writing's on the wall.
So the last thing on the draft lottery, I guess, is it'll obviously take place little over a month from now. June 25th and 26th is when the actual draft will go down at the Barclays Center in New York. So that obviously going to be televised. That's kind of something people kind of chime in for. So at least something to put on the calendar down the line. Yeah,
no, 100%. And I mean, again, it just what an I wanted to say unbelievable turn of events, but unfortunately, it seems to be a very believable turn of events in the NBA. And I mean, like even LeBron was on McAfee in that the lottery was rigged. He's like, oh yeah, they conveniently sent me to Cleveland that one year. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like, dude, come on. By the way, I did see, and this kind of can transition us perfectly to conference finals a little bit and stuff like that. So we could do the intro after this if you don't want to answer it right away. But like, I did see a lot of like, man, Cooper Flagg mentioned wanting to be in Boston, and maybe they send the one pick and go get Tatum to bring him down to the Mavericks. And
that is literally the worst idea I've ever heard. And I want Nico Harrison arrested if that happens.
That would be crazy.
It would be.
But it would fit the timeline a lot more.
No, it wouldn't fit the timeline. Jason Tatum's not going to play next year. What?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if Kyrie needs a year to
fit the timeline, then
you give everyone a year to rest. Anthony Davis, Kyrie, and Tatum 2 years.
You punt the year with everybody in their 30s.
Yeah, man. Listen, everyone take a year off, get good, and then we'll reassess. Let's run it back.
Goodness, yeah, no, we're sending Nico Harrison to the Hague if that happens, and I mean that, God. And again, that's post Achilles injury, but we're gonna have a conversation there on the international level. Welcome everybody to the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host Justin Cousart.
Hold on, I have it. My last at ABC Shark Tank is this Friday, which was yesterday. Gonna miss it, but it was time to move on. Make sure you watch.
What is that? We got Mark Cuban? What, we promoting Shark Tank? I mean, that is crazy. Shark Tank has been on for a long time, so he's obviously been one of the big faces of that. Yeah, dude, I can't believe he's leaving that thing. Like, how many seasons was that? I don't know, man. Maybe he just Mark Cuban's had a rough year. I don't know if he's doing, like, what the deal is with this. Like, maybe it's a little more voluntary, but like he feels like he's going through a post Mavs, which again is also like, Mark, you made this decision. Like, nobody made you sell the Mavs, buddy. But like, yeah, he's definitely can see he's less than thrilled about how that's played out. Well, that's on him for I mean, it's partially. Well, no, I would say it's mostly on him for doing it. On Shark Tank, let's see how many seasons. 15 seasons. Holy moly. Yeah, dude, I believe it. I mean, we've been that was on back when we were in like undergrad, and I hate to say it, just but it was like 15 years ago. Yeah, man. Why is Mark? Oh, there's definitely some why is he leaving articles out here. So I think he was probably like the big
I don't want to say the biggest, but I think he was definitely a big draw as to why people watch the show.
I think he was the most common household name. Like obviously they were all, and I think now it's a little different with like, with Damon and with the QVC. God, I should know her name. That's really bad. But the QVC lady and was it Lori is her name, I think.
Yeah, Lori sounds right.
And then what's it? No, I said
Kevin
Damon.
O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Smiley or whatever.
Yes. Barbara, Barbara, what was her last name?
Barbara's the short hair one. I know you're talking about, but she got short hair.
Corcoran?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, they obviously had some guys that I remember watching one that like Alex Rodriguez was on it and stuff like that. Like they would bring in random guys to like potentially let them get involved too.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some like businesses that have done. I mean, obviously, like there have been a few that have really taken off post Shark Tank. Like I think of like Bomba socks, for example. Like I've got multiple pairs of Bomba socks, and like they're great. That's not an endorsement. They just genuinely are awesome.
So here you go. Some of the most successful products that have come off of Shark Tank include Bomba socks, Scrub Daddy sponges.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that for sure.
I have them. We use them.
Yeah.
The Squatty Potty, got one of those too.
Dude, people who have it love it. Like unironically.
Yeah, it's legit. And then the Maine Lobster food truck. I didn't realize that was on.
That was on Shark Tank, like the
Shark
Cousins truck.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, that's crazy! Wow.
Which is funny
that's
because
everywhere. That was up by us a few days ago.
Which is funny because there's a kid here in Jacksonville. He goes, but his name's Roman. He owns Hot Box Pretzels. It's a food truck.
Right.
But and there's a whole backstory, but he used to work for TPC Sawgrass. They had these like not on the menu soft pretzels that you could order. And so he kind of like got inspired. And so he went off and did his own pretzel food truck.
Right.
And through that he got pulled onto it was a show with Gordon Ramsay. It was like a food wars show. And he made it to like the final 4 people in the show. And so now he's franchising it. He opened one in Miami and he's starting to do pretzel ball bites, and he's packaging them and shipping them out. So I bet he's probably taking a lot of the at least food truck franchising blueprint from the Cousins Maine Lobster food truck stuff, because they're everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. They are 100% everywhere. Yeah, they've been all over. Like I said, it's not just like a East Coast thing. Like they're pretty up and down.
Can you guess how much each of those 4 is valued at now?
Like each of those companies?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
what they are doing in sales, I guess.
Hundreds of millions would be my guess at this point. Like, I mean,
Bombas has generated over 1.3 billion in lifetime sales.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Like I said, I mean, look, if Bombas wants to endorse this podcast, I would genuinely like listen. That'd be one of the that to me is like if Bombas is in the list of products where it would be like I would truly endorse it and mean every word of it. Like I don't obviously like we know how it is with endorsements. Sometimes you got to play the part.
Check them out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like Bombas, like bro, I wear them when I run. Like every half marathon I've worn Bombas socks.
Yep.
Like they're very comfortable.
I agree with that. Scrub Daddy is over 926 million. Squatty Potty's over 260 million.
Scrub Daddy at 926 is crazy because those aren't expensive. Like that just shows the unit of products that they're moving.
But you think about it, they've got a bunch of different options now. And I mean, you know what? A Scrub Daddy's good for, I mean, depending on how much you're using it, like you probably got to replace it every so often. So like, you know, it's a always needing to go back to the well kind of product, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Leave us a review on iTunes if you like our products, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And like we always say, we are on YouTube. Just search Drive and Dish NBA on YouTube. You can subscribe there. Find a video version of the podcast. And you can subscribe. You'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.
Now, word from our sponsors.
So let's catch up from where we left off last episode. Since that episode, we have at least the Eastern Conference Finals set. And oh my, were we wrong. Quite literally 100% wrong.
Yeah, 100% wrong. And I'll put them on Twitter. I am not ducking. I forgot to put my second round picks on Twitter. Like I said them on the podcast 2 episodes ago. So they're very accessible, but like, yeah, I mean, granted, one series at least I could say got changed by injury at least a little bit, but beyond, and I mean, OKC is still alive. Like OKC, I didn't think it was necessarily going to go 7, but like I did have this as a 6-game series. Yeah, the Pacers and the Cavs were the Pacers. Like you had ways that I could see them beating Cleveland. Like I'd said that multiple times. I've been very high on this Pacers team. I didn't think it was going to be like that. Like I didn't think they were just going to totally take them to the woodshed the way they did. And the Knicks, yeah, like I mean, the Knicks is shocking because as we talked about in and that segment is aging like milk for me. Good Lord. I mean that may have aged like worse than any other one I've had on this podcast. But like the Knicks just didn't beat anybody good during the regular season. Like that was my basically like lack of belief there. But listen, you get by Boston.
Yeah.
Tell me who they can't beat at this point. Like you gotta believe. I mean,
so
sorry, just go ahead.
I do have a question, and I teased asking you this, and I just want to ask it because I don't want to forget.
Okay.
We don't know the result, right, of Nuggets Thunder yet. So depending on when someone's listening to this, it could really change this question. But if the Nuggets beat the Thunder, ranking-wise, they would be the best team. Are the Knicks the best team left in the playoffs?
I think the winner, if we're going, I think the winner of OKC and Denver is going to be my number one. But it's something that we'll talk about a little bit here where it's like, it's very interesting though, right? Because you would think Denver would be, and especially given Denver's championship experience, like you would, and them having the best player individually left in the playoffs, like you would think that would make them the auto favorite. But like, look at how well Minnesota matches up with them. We saw this last year. It's like that is a bit of a nightmare matchup. And now the other thing to watch with Denver too. And again, this may heavily affect them in games. I mean, it probably will heavily affect them in Game 7. And it's like that could. But Aaron Gordon too. Like Aaron Gordon with a hamstring strain going forward. Like we just saw that sink Steph and the Warriors. Like Aaron Gordon. Jamal's been the second best player for them, and like his scoring reemergence has been one of the big major stories for the Nuggets. Like him elevating in the playoffs yet again has been huge. But Aaron Gordon's been like just steady the whole time. Like he's been that steady force for the Nuggets. Obviously, 2 game winners for them, so pretty huge in that element as well. But like, to me, we know what Jokic is. Jokic is brilliant. He's going to give you what he's going to, like, you just aren't really going to stop him. Like with Denver, to me, it's all about the depth. In Game 6, it was Brown, right? Brown was phenomenal, and Jamal had another great game, and like that's what got them over the top. It's been Russ being able to give them good Russ off the bench. Like that does radically change if Aaron Gordon's down, but I do think Minnesota does. I mean, Minnesota matches up better with Denver than they do with OKC. And so I think I have a little bit of a different, I mean, if I'm Minnesota, as crazy as it sounds, I think I would rather play OKC or Denver, which feels wild if you beat OKC. But I think just given the matchups, given the personnel, like you have the bigger bodies with Gobert, with Reed, with Randall that just kind of bang with Jokic a little bit. Maybe even necessarily more than OKC does. Like I know OKC's had Holmgren, they've had Hartenstein, but it is a bit of an intriguing matchup there. And that's what makes it tough. Like if OKC wins, I'm not going to just suddenly jump off the OKC train. Like OKC to me is the best team left in this currently.
Yeah.
But you can sell me on every one of these teams winning the finals. Like this is a very open field to me right now. Like Minnesota is coming together at the right time. And like, yeah, they had a little bit of an, advantage there injury wise with Steph going down. Like I do, like clearly that radically changed that series, but Minnesota also went out and dominated it after. Like they just took care of business. There was never a doubt that they were the better team there. Like they did what they needed to. They've been in the conference finals last year. Like you don't want to sell short their experience. I mean, and the big development for them too is just Julius Randle. Julius Randle, who's been pretty disappointing in the playoffs over the course of his career, has been phenomenal so far in these first 2 rounds. Like if that continues to carry with the depth they have, with how well Ant is playing.
How How wild would it be if it ended up being Timberwolves Knicks? Like from that trade perspective, it's
Oh, the
like,
Tibbs
wow,
Bowl, bro. The Townsend Tibbs Bowl. Are you kidding me?
that'd be
There's plenty of
crazy.
storylines there.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the NBA would eat that up. If they need to rig something, there's a good storyline. Go ahead.
well, the NBA one. I mean, the Knicks being in there would be a gift for the NBA,
Oh
obviously,
yeah.
just from a ratings perspective, having the
Oh,
number one city in America with the
dude.
Knicks back, who haven't clearly who haven't been on this stage in
Not
how
even that.
long?
Not even that. I have that number right here. The Pacers and the Knicks. The Knicks were last in the finals against the Spurs in 99 and the
Yep.
Pacers against the Lakers in 2000. So it's easily been 25 years or more for both.
Well, and it's like
Um,
even go
yeah,
further than that in the West. Denver's the only team left who's won recently. Minnesota's
yeah,
never won.
yep,
Minnesota as a city hasn't won or Minneapolis is a city. Minnesota is a state. Minneapolis is a city. But they have four teams. Like that's the most tortured fan base in all of America. They haven't won a title as a city since 1991, and even then, it's only two. The Twins have two. The Twins won in '87, I think, and in '91. The
yeah.
Wolves have never won. The Vikings have never won, and the Wild have
That's
never won.
wild that the Vikings have never won.
Well, yeah, because they've been it's not
They've
like they've
been,
just been
yeah,
terrible. Like they've had good seasons, but they've never
yeah,
been over the top like that. So yeah, it's a very tortured fan base who would certainly go crazy for that. Like you said, the Knicks haven't won the title since the 70s, haven't been there since 99. The Pacers haven't won the title ever, haven't been there since 2000. And again, they've had multiple good teams too. You think
yeah. Oh
about the
yeah,
team going into Malice at the Palace. You think about the Paul George years where they just kind of ran into LeBron in the big three. And so you just, history awaits. But that Pacers team too, when you look at how well they're playing with how quickly they dispatch Cleveland, they're not scared of the Knicks. And again, we'll do a full little preview here in a sec of that series, but like they just beat the Knicks last year. Why are they scared of the Knicks? They know what
yeah,
it is. Like
yep,
they're
yep.
embracing this rivalry. Um,
You saw the Hallie and Brunson thing with WWE, that video
yeah,
that's been
before, of
surfacing.
course. Yeah,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
after last year, they were
yeah,
already like, look, it is this is going to be such a fun series because it's already a historical rivalry, just given everything that the Knicks and the Pacers did in
yeah,
the 90s. Like, there's definitely no love lost there. But then, like we said, it's also relevant. Like, this isn't just a rivalry from when, like, a different generation. Like, there's no love lost there after this series last year. Like, now you've got it. We're running it back on a higher stage with,
yeah.
like you said, the first chance to go to the finals from 25 years for one of these respective
That's so
franchises. Like,
awesome.
it's absolute cinema, dude. And we're going
Yeah,
to get into it, but let's get back to this game seven real quick. I do want to talk
yep.
about that just with that first because it's so timely.
I I
Um,
I would say the big question mark I'll have for the game is Jokic being fresh enough in the fourth quarter with how many options OKC has to throw at him with Hartenstein, Chet, Jalen Williams. Like they are going to make him work for it the whole time. And we see these crazy, like, falling backwards from the back of his head throws that Jokic is making, but it's like, you don't always want those shots. Yes, they're going in, but like, come on, like we can find something more open or maybe more, better percentage of going in. So I'm interested to see, and it kind of sucks that it would essentially wait until the fourth quarter of this game seven to really know what's going on. But how fresh is Jokic? Does he have enough energy to get out of those situations? Uh, is he able to just take over and score, or does he resort to the passing game a little bit more, moving the ball around, which again is fine, but like you said, with Aaron Gordon being less healthy and we don't know where he's going to be in that, like it really does make me wonder where Jokic will be going into that fourth quarter when obviously the team will be relying on him.
yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, a lot of that too just goes back to their depth, which we've talked about. And I
Yes.
mean, Aaron Gordon's hamstring is the big story. If he's able to play at all, is he limited? I think certainly he's going to try to gut this game seven out. Like, I think we know he wants to be there, but like for a guy that's given them 20 points on a lot of nights, 20 plus, and like we said, multiple shots you mentioned there in the fourth quarter, like that, they just don't have the bodies to replace that. Like, that to me is the biggest story. I feel confident in Jamal Murray. We've had that the past few games there. Russ, we're gonna see. Like you've had,
Mhm.
it's the ultimate Russ roller coaster, right? Like he's still shooting 35% overall in this series. but maybe he gives you what you need off the bench. You get good Russ the one night where he can give you like 16 points. He's 5 of 8 or something like that. I mean, that's, and the other one too is just Porter. Like Porter Jr. has been, it's such a disappointment. Just like not just this season, but like in this series specifically. Like, I mean, 2 points in a loss in Game 5. He only had 10, I think, in the win the other night. Like that's
doesn't he have that shoulder injury though? Like I don't know how much that's hindering him, you know?
I know, but like you got to be better than 2 points, man. They're paying you the max. Like you got to find a way to contribute. And look, he is dealing with it, but you need to be able to find a way to contribute a little more than that. They said he's getting injections to manage the pain before Game 7, so hopefully that is able to give them.
I did see, by the way, just back on the Westbrook thing, he's shooting 18% from deep and 35 overall in this series, and that would explain why they're essentially leaving him wide open.
Yeah.
And I think from a Westbrook standpoint, he is what he is at this point. It's going to happen, but it's like, man, you can't, if they're leaving you open, they're leaving you open for a reason. Don't give in to those, those temptations, I guess.
You hope in a dream way that he can beat you, right? Like that's how it's like, he knocks down 1 or 2 of those. Like that really does open things up. And
you got to go guard him then. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be such a huge moment for them. I mean, the big story for me, Thunder-wise, has been Jalen Williams. Like, Jalen Williams has just been really, like, inefficient, to say the least. I mean, he was decent in their loss, the overtime loss, but, I mean, 2 of 13, 5 of 14, 3 of 16 his last 3 games. He's only made 2 3-pointers over the course of those 3 games. Like, he just, like, he's one of those guys beyond SGA. Like, when you look at the offensive load and who needs to carry it, like, Jalen Williams has got to be one of those guys. That's how they got here. You're hoping that he comes out and hits a few shots early, kind of build that confidence, because that too, though, you mentioned the fourth quarter offense, like it is a little there with SGA as well. It's like, what can SGA do? You don't want it to all be on him in crunch time. It's been that at points.
Yeah.
So you hope that he can come through for the Thunder. In terms of a prediction, like I said, I'm not going to jump off the Thunder bandwagon. I'm not also going to jump off the trend of Game 7s at home. Like that tends to favor the home team. OKC won a pivotal Game 5 here a little bit ago. I think that Aaron Gordon injury again is really going to loom large in this game.
Yeah.
And that to me kind of is, and with Porter being ineffective too, like I said, that's kind of where I'm at. I think Jokic is going to try to pull out a miracle. I think, maybe you get a Murray game is the best case scenario too. Like if Jamal can give you 40, then we're in business. Like Jamal gives you 40, they might win.
Throwback playoff Jamal,
and he's been phenomenal. Like Jamal Murray's been phenomenal this entire series, this entire playoff run. And I mean, look, Denver's been through a war so far, right? Like you got 7 here with the Clips, you got 7 here with the Thunder. But if you're able to win this game and get past them, you got to feel like this is wide open. If you're OKC, like you get past this Denver team, given their championship experience, you got to feel pretty good about that too, right? And now you got to feel like obviously they would be extra motivated. I mean, both these teams would be motivated going against Minnesota, but with OKC knowing what you got on the line, like this has always been a finals or bust team. If Denver wins, you got a second shot at Minnesota, who knocked you out last year when you felt like you had a really good shot at winning a title. So, definitely a lot to be excited about there. We kind of talked a little bit earlier, but for Minnesota, given how impressive they were against the Warriors, again, handling their business, really no doubt in any of these games. They just did what they needed to do. Do you think that think they have a preference? Like, do you have a preference if you're a Minnesota fan of who you'd rather play in this series?
I don't know. At my first thought, it goes back to what you said. We beat the Thunder last year. Let's just do it again kind of thing. But then I'm like, well, they're the best team in the NBA.
Minnesota didn't beat the Thunder last year.
No. But sorry, erase what I said there. Yes. I mean, you feel like you've been playing against them well this season, and that's where I kind of lean on the Thunder. And I'm also trying to avoid Jokic, I guess, is a little bit of why I'm thinking that. But I'm also like, maybe you go up against the Nuggets because of the Gordon injury. If that does, like, if they are able to get past the Thunder, but Aaron Gordon's hamstring lingers, like, just keep riding the hamstring injury all the way to the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? Like, if you just keep going up against an injured team, like, you might as well. That's their weakness. Now you know where you can expose it. And if you're the Timberwolves, you see the Thunder throwing all these bigs at Jokic, you're like, well, we can do that too. Like you definitely think you can do that as well. So I feel like for whatever reason, and you might have alluded to it earlier, is there is a level of we feel like we match up against potentially the Nuggets a little bit better, a little bit easier, or we know the game plan against them already a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like you said, going off that last year. I mean, and you're right, like regular season wise, you look at how this went. The Timberwolves won all 4 of their matchups this season against Denver. Pretty convincingly for the most part. They had that double overtime game, which, oh, by the way, required Jokic to have that 60-point triple-double.
Yeah.
But they still won that game.
Maybe you
a little
do
more
feel
split
good
with
OKC.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're 2-2 against OKC. So like I said, it's not like there's a major difference there, but they match up really well with Denver. Like it sounds crazy, you're right, because it's like you want to avoid Jokic. He's the best player in the NBA. But when you're Minnesota and like you have this personnel, like you're right, you have to feel pretty good about that. Now I think to the same token, like read what you will into the regular season. I think if nothing else now, the Knicks, I mean, look at what they've thrown that script out the window with how poorly they played against like better opponents in the regular season. And now here they are in the conference finals, 4 games away from the finals. So, yeah, I weirdly think as well that Minnesota should want Denver. I mean, maybe that's not that weird. OKC's been the best team all year, but I think Minnesota should want Denver here. If OKC wins, though, given how well Minnesota is playing right now, like, my biggest knock against them if they've had one is just that, like, they had an easier schedule to get in. They still kind of struggled, but it's like all they've really done is handle their business since coming into the playoffs. And, this is a team that was in the conference finals last year. And you got to give them a lot of credit, too, given the fact that, again, a big time shakeup trading Towns in the offseason. Like, we're going to talk about Towns and his impact on the Knicks here in a second. But, you look at bringing in Randall, bringing in DiVincenzo, like, that's definitely a big time shakeup for this roster. And there were definitely some growing pains early, but they figured it out, and now here they are when it matters, getting it done.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I think the Timberwolves definitely feel confident regardless of who they're going up against, and I wouldn't expect anything less. I mean, the cockiness of Ant, but
you're right. You employ Ant. Ant ain't scared of anybody, which is great. I mean, that's what you need right now. It's what he's been showing.
You need that. So yeah, I mean, I think out of curiosity, Thunder or Nuggets go into this game against the Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. Are the Timberwolves, regardless, the non-favored team, like betting wise?
I think betting wise, they'll probably put Denver ahead of Minnesota, but I know I would pick Minnesota if it's Minnesota, Denver. I would pick OKC if it's OKC, Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can get behind that. I feel that too.
So,
especially with Aaron Gordon, like again, there is a looming. Where is that hamstring if they do get past the Thunder? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, 100%. But all right, let's go out back east a little bit since we do have this one set. And preview Knicks and Pacers. This is going to be such a great series. Like not from just the rivalry stuff that we talked about, but the fact that I think these teams are really evenly matched. I think they're both playing their best ball right now at a time when they need to play their best ball. Super dramatic win for the Knicks last night, getting a closeout at home, winning big against Boston, knocking them out. I mean, you and I talked a little bit before the show about this, and it's been 25 years since they've been in the conference finals, and it's crazy, like when you have the Carmelo Anthony years. But yeah, I mean, especially when it's the fact that you knocked out the defending champs, like this is the biggest Knicks series win in a long. I mean, since they won that last ECF and went to the finals, like I think it's been the biggest one there. And now we're here, like we said. The Knicks are going to have home court advantage in this. The Pacers are going to have way more rest. They've just been kind of chilling since beating Cleveland in 5. I mean, I think they're going to have almost 8 days off when all is said and done. But we're here. I mean, what do we expect? Like, full disclosure, right off the rip, I think this is going 7.
Yeah, no, I can get behind 7 because I was just reading about their pace, the for lack of a better pun with Pacers and the Knicks. But essentially their stats are almost the exact same in limiting opponents to 113 points per 100 possessions. They're only separated by 1.9 on the offensive side of things. But the game plan's a little bit different, right? The Pacers literally are the speed. They keep it moving, fast breaks on you and keep it going. Whereas Jalen Brunson and New York, they kind of like doing that half court thing, him teaming up with Karl Anthony Towns. Those two together are like 50 points a night, and then you still have the whole other team to worry about. So it's two very similar stat lines from the teams, but it's two very different games.
Oh yeah,
it's almost like speed versus like stamina in a way, and that's more of a Thibs thing, just because he's always going to play his guys a lot of minutes. So it's like it's very interesting to see, and it will be interesting to see which one of those kind of shine through, and how much coaching does kind of play into that.
Well, and they love the half court too, right? Like, you talk about the difference. It's like, the Knicks love to slow things down, get into your traditional half court offense. The Pacers are trying to run you out of the gym every single night. Like they say, hey, let's go have a track meet here while we're playing basketball as well.
Right.
The other big difference as well, and like you said, part of this is with Tibbs, like, what it is. The Knicks don't really have a big rotation at this point. Like, we're talking about 2-3 deep off the bench.
And the Pacers can.
The Pacers have gone like 10, 11 deep at some point. And I mean, that's been kind of the story of the Pacers, right? Like, you have your main guy in Halliburton, but even on nights where Hallie is not necessarily giving you a ton from the scoring front, it's everybody else that can chip in, right? Like, it's Siakam, it's Obi Toppin, it's Neesmith, it's Nembhard, like it's TJ McConnell and Miles Turner and all these different guys that can contribute, and like they have different ways that they can beat you. And that is going to be the story, right? Like, if the Knicks are going to win this series, they just need their big guys to step up. Namely OG. I think OG has been, when he's been going and been able to give you that extra offensive punch, like that to me is when the Knicks like truly look scary a little bit. We know Brunson is going to be the guy that is required to do a lot of the heavy offensive lifting. It's going to have to be on Towns too. I mean, specifically from a Cat perspective, the interesting thing to watch is that he shot horribly against Boston, from beyond the arc, I should say. He was really inefficient. It was down at like 15%.
Wasn't it really good the series before that? I feel like I saw a thing to say, and he was like efficient from three.
Well, that's what I mean. Like during the regular season he was, but like this past series he wasn't. So like they're going to need him to bounce back. Because I mean you're going to have like Miles Turner will be doing the large majority of defending on Towns, but like if you're out on the perimeter, you can switch like a Siakam on him, or if you've got Obi coming off the bench, like Obi Toppin can definitely keep pace there a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see if they try to get him some early looks to get that going. I mean, certainly if he's knocking that shot down, that opens things up a lot for the Knicks, especially late at the end of games. Look, we know Bridges has been phenomenal defensively. I think that he's going to be solid. I don't think there's any indication to suggest otherwise there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be like the Knicks starters have done the heavy lifting to get to this point. They're going to have to keep doing the heavy lifting. Like, that's the story of this team. He's going to give them big minutes every single night. They're all equipped to handle it. Like, they're certainly in rhythm right now. And we're going to see what happens. I mean, the Pacers, same sort of deal. Like, they're just going to try to do the opposite with depth. Like, they're just going to try to beat you with fresh bodies. There's just a lot of, for some of these differences, though, there are a lot of similarities. Like, they've both been really good on the road, for example, which is interesting to watch in a series, where the Knicks are the home court advantage right now. The Pacers probably a little better in the second half of the regular season than the Knicks were. But again, like, I don't think that matters when the Knicks are playing right now. And you get the Knicks like a super emotional win against Boston. Both these, respective arenas are going to be feeling it. Like, the juice is going to be there.
Well, and, there's another angle that I just kind of was thinking about with that. Obviously things will get testy at some points. Fouls will be going. With the Pacers being able to go deeper into the roster, they kind of have more fouls to play with than maybe the Knicks would in certain cases. So I am curious to see if there's a point where foul trouble kind of comes into the conversation with the Knicks at all. I'm not saying it will. It's just it's just a thought. It's the conference finals. It's going to get chippy. There's going to be times where things get weird, and one team's able to put out 11 people and the other's not. Like, that's just more fouls to go around potentially.
And it's like, can someone be a hero off the bench too? Like, can there be a night where someone off the Knicks, like, you get one of those games? Like, is it like, can Cam Payne give you one of those games? Can Deuce McBride give you one of those games? Like, I definitely think that is within the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. So what's your you think Knicks take it though?
I keep going back. I really I'm wishy-washy in this, and I truly think this is the definition of a coin flip series.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Pacers in 7. I think the Pacers being here last year, especially when they kind of fumbled it a little bit. Like
Yep.
Boston was going to win that series, but like the Pacers had multiple winnable games in that series. I think just their depth shines a little bit more. I
Okay.
think they're a little fresher, and I think they win a very gritty game 7 on the road, which
Okay.
sounds wild given how
Okay.
crazy MSG is right now. But my early read is to lean Pacers. But I'm telling you, this is like a 51-49 series in my mind.
I'll go Knicks. And I'll go off with just a few stats. They held Boston to 8.9 fewer points per 100 possessions than the regular season. They did the same thing to Detroit at 5.1 fewer than regular season. I'm going to say Knicks take it in 6 games.
Okay. Listen, I'm not mad at it. They're, like you said, beating Boston. They're playing great ball right now. And I think that mentally for them gives them a big boost. Like way
Ideal,
more than beating Detroit did. Because I thought Detroit was
yeah.
like uglier than it should have been. They did what they needed to against Boston. Like that's an impressive series win. There's no way around it.
What would be your preferred NBA finals out of these 4, 5, 6? We'll count Nuggets Thunder in this.
Let the record show that I'm also very aware that I'm being a hypocrite with that Indy pick, and when I extol the virtue of Game Sevens at home, and then I'm picking
Yeah.
Indy to beat the Knicks in the Garden. My ideal finals matchup. Oh man, that's tough. I mean, you're right. Tibbs Bowl would be electric. If it's Minnesota versus New York, there would be a lot of
That'd
electricity
be
there.
huge.
I would love to see Minnesota, Indiana to have Adam Silver is in Hell Bowl. Um, I bet there's not really like there's not a bad match like anybody with OKC. Like OKC's been the best team all year. I think that there's a lot of it's somebody. I think it was Zach Lowe said they should hang the MVP trophy over at this game 7. Just put it in the rafters. Like
Yeah,
that's it.
I
We're
was
playing for
thinking too.
MVP right now.
I'm very convinced. Like just looking at it, I'm convinced. And I think you mentioned this earlier, and I might have blown it off, but I kind of feel like if the Thunder win tonight, they win the whole thing.
Yeah, I do too. I think.
If the Nuggets win tonight, the Knicks win the whole thing.
Oh man, even so, you would even would you pick the Knicks over Minnesota in a hypothetical series?
Oh, I don't know.
Knicks would be home team too.
Yeah, and that would definitely help things. Dude, it's hard to go against Ant. It's also hard to go against Brunson, though.
But it's really hard to go against. If Minnesota gets by OKC, I'm picking against Minnesota, who just be the
That's
best team in the
fair.
league all year. Or
Yeah,
Denver. I mean, or Denver too. Who what it's worth. Again, Denver, if they
yeah,
beat OKC, like almost a little transitive property there. But you're
yeah.
right though. Like I don't because I don't want to sound like I'm a hater. And I don't want to sound like I think the Knicks have no like this is the best chance for the Knicks to win a title, maybe in our lifetimes,
Oh,
honestly.
for Pacers and Knicks right now. I mean, this is easily the
I think the
best shot.
Pacers have had better shots in our lifetime. Maybe.
With
Maybe.
like Paul George and everything, or
Paul George, I don't think they had a shot, but that's just because they ran into LeBron.
yeah,
Like,
LeBron and
there was nothing you could have done there. That team was so
no.
good, and it just like you were the victim. It's like what Jordan did. It's like you're just the victim of history,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Well, and that was like Pacers wasn't 20 or 2000 was Shaq and Kobe. It was like kind of the same thing. Like I mean,
Yeah,
it's Shaq
2000
and
was
Kobe. Like
yeah.
know.
Well, the Knicks lost to. I mean, not quite
Yeah,
like the back-to-back years, but it's like the Knicks lost to the Spurs for the first time. Like they ran
yeah,
into like that was Tim Duncan's first. It was David
yeah.
Robinson's first,
Mhm.
finally getting over the top. So, yeah, like I mean, short of Denver, a long drought is going to end because I mean, OKC like they've won a title, but it was in Seattle, like as a franchise. Like, does
Yeah.
that really count?
That's
And
part
even
of
that
why.
Seattle
That's
title,
part of why, like selfishly, I would want the Nuggets to lose just to be like, someone's drought is ending. Which one of you
yeah.
four want it the
Well, yeah,
most?
because like I said, even that Seattle, like they didn't win it at OKC. It was a
Yeah,
Seattle title. Like they have the patch on the back of their jerseys, but even that, like that was all the way back in
yeah.
1979. Like it wasn't exactly like that was a yesterday
No.
championship either. So, like you said, yeah, the Knicks back in the 70s, the Pacers and Timberwolves would be breaking a drought. Yeah, it shifts if OKC wins, and I think that's I still think OKC would be the favorite to win it
Yes.
all. But
I
if
think so
OKC's
too.
out, like you could talk me
We're
into
back.
any of these
That'd be
four
crazy.
teams winning the finals.
That's crazy. If OKC goes out, the highest seed is a 3 seed, which was Knicks, and everyone else is a 4 or a 6 at that point, which is no even more. Wasn't Timberwolves a 6 seed last year too?
Oh, and talk about the parity again in the
Yeah.
league. Like you look
Yeah.
at with Boston, obviously there won't be any back-to-back, so this will continue that streak of nobody winning back-to-backs. And obviously, like if Denver wins, it's hard to be like, because Denver will again, that will be, 2 here pretty recently.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, yeah, you're right. You keep adding to the list of different franchises, like
Yeah.
guys going in on one teams, the depth has shined in some of these series. Like, um, I think with OKC or not with OKC, although no, yeah, I mean definitely with OKC too, but with Minnesota and with Indy, I mean I think the depth has been really the story of their playoff
Yeah.
runs so far. For the Knicks,
Yep.
it's been Tibbs ball working, like it's been their guys coming through. Like Brunson's obviously been phenomenal. He's backing up his Clutch Player of the Year award. There's just a lot to like in these playoffs right now, and obviously we're excited about this Game 7. But I think we've got some great conference finals on tap as well. A lot of just quality hoops, and that's all we can ask for here. All right, who's balling, who's falling? Our NBA version of the stock market. We always like start with the good for the bad. So balling for me this week, kind of sticking on theme, is of course Villanova. You got to get, because it's not just the Nova Knicks, right? Like obviously you got Bridges and you got Brunson, you got Hart, and everybody's talking about that. But listen, our guy Dante DiVincenzo right over there on the other side with the Minnesota, they're big changes. They're in the conference finals as well. Obviously, huge year for them as well, getting Pope Leo confirmed. I know he's more Chicago's to claim, but Nova's pretty excited about that as well.
I saw
Um,
someone. I saw someone tweet. I saw someone tweet. It took them 2 days to pick the new pope. You do not have to go through 4 rounds of interviews for your job position.
straight up, bro, for real. No, I'm telling you, if I'm being right, like if I'm interviewing for the Pope, you can put me through 4 rounds of interviews. If you're not. Okay, I'm gonna toe the line with this one, and I'm not towing the line.
Oh no!
No, it's not really towing the line. It all worked out, but it cracked. Like I do think about like when I interviewed my first interview in Jacksonville, like how many interviews I did for that job,
Yeah.
and like great experience. Loved my coworkers. It
But
all
it's
worked
like
out.
entry
Like
level position, my guy.
oh, it was crazy. They flew me down for that. Like I think about that. I was like,
Wow.
you guys flew me from Philadelphia to Jacksonville on their dime to interview for an overnight producer position, bro. That was the good old days, man. That would never happen now. That would never happen now.
Dude, we're going to Rockville for 4 days straight, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to keep the spending under $100." And dude, I get there, and which, by the way, this food truck, I can't even remember the name now, but they do this Euro Greek salad. Oh my god! But I mean, it is festival food. It is expensive. $25 for this salad, and then you got to tip 20%, so it's really like $31.
Hang on, you do not have to tip 20% on getting a festival salad. Why do you have to tip 20%?
Come on, it's a food truck,
no,
family-owned food truck.
Dude, you don't have to tip 20% when they're handing you food.
Come on. I mean, but the salad, they literally shave the meat off. And
they're doing their job. That's their job.
Right, but that's 20%. That's what you do.
I hear you. I want to tip more on local businesses as well. I do. I always tip when I go out to eat 20%. It's the lock of the century. If I sit down, if I do not sit down, I do not owe you 20% every single time. We are good. Listen, and again, this is part of the rant where tipping is out of control in America. Like I'm tired of it. Like it's over the top. It's ridiculous. Like I've had businesses that don't even give me a service ask for a tip the other day. It's like, listen, like if you sit down, it's a different story. I'm also firmly in the team of I wish we were like Europe and Australia and everywhere else in the world and South America and Asia and all these other places that just pay their waiters and then you don't have to tip them. Like I would rather pay the extra price in the food than go through this tipping game. And that has nothing, because like again, I will tip, not to be totally off topic, but it's like I will never tip less than 20%. Even if you would really have to do something egregious for me to not tip more than 20%. Sure. Like it's just like, again, that's people's livelihoods. I'm not going to be that person. Like I appreciate service workers, but it also takes like a lot of the variable out there, because I know there are a lot of people who aren't like that. And like I don't think if like somebody having a bad night or the server getting blamed for something that went wrong in the kitchen. Like it just shouldn't come out of their bottom line. And that's where like I run into a little bit of beef with tipping as well. Like it also just puts the pressure on you as the customer to get out of the restaurant. Like I'm very aware that the more tables you have, the more tips you make. But it's like if I'm going out to eat, I shouldn't feel pressured to get out of your establishment so that you can have more tips. Like, no, I'm here as well. Like I'm paying you my hard-earned money. Like let me enjoy my night.
I remember when we worked at the piano bar down in St. Augustine, the waiters, not the waiters, the front desk people, and even the bartenders would be able to see it. It was a map of the seating chart essentially in our restaurant. And when a couple, and this was like a more expensive restaurant in St. Augustine, it was a piano bar. Like it was a date night place to go. We were in suits working. Like I had to wear a suit every night when we were working. And you would be able to see it. And based on how long that table was locked in, it would change colors. So at like 40 minutes, it would turn yellow, as in like, hey, you got to start working them along. Once you hit an hour, especially if it was a two-top, if you hit an hour with a two-top, it turned red and it was flashing. And the freaking manager upstairs would come down and be like, you got to get them out of here. What are you doing? They've been here for an hour. It's like, bro, they opened a bottle of wine. What do you want from me? Like,
also, I'm at a piano bar. Like, I'm going to hear the music. Why am I only going for an hour? Like, that's just...
Well, this place, I mean, the piano guy was okay.
Okay, but whatever. That's not my problem. The point is I'm there to hear music. It's not about the quality of the music. It's about the fact that, like... It's a broken...
Let's just say he was doing something that involved needles in the bathroom and then passing out. Yeah, dude, it was really aggressive.
All right, well, I hope he got rehab. He needs to be worried about getting that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't kept in touch with him as well,
we hope he turned his life around.
The old chef that was there, who also needed to turn his life around, did, and has a very prestigious restaurant in St. Augustine now, but I won't name him since it's a really good restaurant. My Ballin.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, you don't want to shout out the business, but that's fair.
I would, but I just don't want him to. Yeah, I don't want to draw his past
when you associated with that, that's respectable. All right, who's balling for you this week?
Not that story. Ballin' for me is going to Jared McCain, who has launched his own line of nail polish. He did this in college, but now is doing it obviously with the Sixers. Sally Hansen is the nail polish company. They previously announced a release going out. It is a 5-shade collection. It will be available or is available on Amazon at the beginning of this month. So it is out there. I'm curious the cost of it, to be honest with you.
I don't know how much nail polish costs, to be honest. So you can tell me a lot or you can tell me a little, and I think I'd believe both.
Let's find out. I'll see if I can find it real quick. Sally Hansen. But I mean, good for Jared McCain. Obviously,
shout out to our guy. Are you kidding me? I hope it succeeds.
I do too. I just listen, also focus on getting better and getting back to basketball. We need you to show up.
You are not doing this. Jared McCain does not deserve that. My guy was on pace to win Rookie of the Year before he got hurt. He seems like he's back to the lab. He just showed up in the draft and we got the number 3 pick. Like, now we're good. You're good.
There it is. Okay. Oh, it's like one of them's like a really light pink looking one. Point guard pink. I love that.
That's funny. That is funny.
It's $13. I don't know if the one next to it is $5. So maybe it is a little, everything else is like $5. His is like 13. So maybe there is a little added, even the DreamWorks Trolls collab is only $7.
Hey, it's not too bad.
No, I mean, I don't know. You're paying double for the Jared McCain version.
Yeah.
He's got, here we go. We got point guard pink, bucket blue, which is like a really shiny blue, goat gold, net neutral, which is literally white, and then rookie red. And you can buy the trio set if you want for $24.99.
Okay. All right. Hey, maybe we'll get the trio set,
which is a little Sixers colors ish. Although it looks like that might be black. It's like red.
I'm gonna put it in
black.
display. Like I can't say like again, and this is not saying I am not the judgment type, but I still personally am not at the painting my nails level. It's not for
I
me.
don't. I'm sure my kid will paint my nails at some point.
Oh yeah, but that's different. You got it. That's just like part of
Yeah.
being a dad.
Long-lasting gel-like formula, no UV lamp needed. Blue, red, and a sealer? Is that a sealer? Shiny top coat. Oh, you can make it shiny. There you go.
All right, there we go. All right, Fallin for me this week is we got it's a hypothetical deal. This is on the Zach Lowe podcast. In summer 2023, there was a deal actually in place, which this is hilarious when you look at all the people that were involved in it. They were going to send Draymond Green to Memphis, the Warriors were, and they would have got Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks and Tyus Jones back to Golden State. Which, when you think about the antics that those two have had together, like that is extra hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, again, this fell through. Things would have been radically different. Certainly doesn't seem like Draymond is going anywhere now, but it's always fun to see some what ifs in the NBA.
I kind of remember Draymond Memphis combo going down at one point, so it doesn't surprise me that there was something like that on the board. And it is a what if. I wonder what would have happened the next few years after that if that trade had gone down. I know the Warriors have even made comments thinking like, the Jimmy Butler thing gives them that future they're still looking for a few more years on this potential playoff run. So obviously, who knows if Jimmy would have even ended up there or what the team would have looked like. My Fallin is going to Rudy Gobert. There's a TMZ story that's come out that Rudy broke up.
We're getting spicy today. All right.
Yeah. Rudy broke up with his pregnant girlfriend and told her to move out of his home and take their 1-year-old son with her right at the start of the playoffs. And this, at least TMZ is saying the sources are close to the wives and girlfriends of the other Timberwolves players, that saying the split was kind of a shocker. Because they were apparently like seen together on April 13th at a regular season game. So who knows what happened? I don't want to speculate, but apparently TMZ also said that Gobert has lawyered up with his reps and apparently is applying pressure to make sure she stays in Minnesota with the kids. So maybe there's more that'll come out about it. Just a very wild. Imagine having to go through the playoffs while also this potential stress going on can't be easy.
Well, I mean, it's not like Ant's not dealing with that too.
Right.
I mean, if Minnesota, I don't know, is this the sacrifice they had to make to like?
Yeah, you guys. So what's going on over there, man? Like,
I got a lot of. I mean, they're winning basketball games, so maybe that'll be an off-season question. Listen, man, I'm gonna let the courts take this one. Yeah, we pray for the peace, and I pray for stability for the kids. That's the biggest thing. That's all I ask for.
A little bit more of what I read. It sounds like the girlfriend wants to move back to France, and obviously he doesn't want her to do that because the kid is then very far away for obviously the NBA season. So see where it goes.
All right. Shall we fire up the Doom meter here real quick? Our old pal, the Doom meters, has come for 3 more teams here. We'll have it for, of course, the loser of Denver and Minnesota as well. And eventually, like as we get closer, maybe when the conference finals are done, I'm gonna actually like sit down and rank all these Doom meter teams. Spoiler alert, I still have Milwaukee at number 1. And I don't think much is going to change that this offseason, though. I'll tell you what, like Boston certainly got close given, and that's kind of where I feel like we should start. Obviously, we're now almost an hour into this podcast, and we haven't mentioned the fact that Jason Tatum tore his Achilles, confirmed in Game 4 of the Knicks-Boston series. And, give the Celtics a lot of credit for rallying in that Game 5, not going out on their home floor, forcing 6. I respect a lot of pride for that. And honestly, Jaylen Brown was great in Game 6 too. Like the question would be like, can he step up? Jaylen Brown was not the issue. It was everybody else not stepping up. And I mean, look, with this Celtics team, there already probably were going to be changes in the offseason just because they're incredibly expensive. And that's a fee you're willing to pay when you're winning the title last year and when you have a high potential of running it back like they did this year. But you look now at that roster, like you look at Al Horford with his age, you look at Porzingis, you look at Drew Holiday, like there are some big questions here for this roster. And the problem is now is like, look, the reality is with Tatum, with the timing of this, like that's the most brutal part. Is like you're losing a year, not only of prime Jason Tatum, but like this team just isn't a championship contender without Jason Tatum. Like they're still very good, but they're not going to get over the top and be one of the elite teams. And so at that point, right, like it's the double whammy of like you don't want to pay all this money and be expensive and go all in for another year of this when you're going to miss your best player for a year now. Like I do think you start having to look, you've still got Tatum and JB locked in. Like you're not worried about that duo necessarily. And I think if anything, this emphasizes the importance of, hey, win when you've got your shot. Like Boston won't look at this period as a failure no matter what, because they won the title last year. But like things can change very quickly. And this Tatum injury, more than anything, has, I think, really changed Boston's outlook for the next few years. And so, yeah, I don't be surprised when I think they start making moves that are more just geared to the future.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Obviously we knew it was bad. Tatum, even just in the wheelchair going back, you could tell he was pretty emotional and knew something was wrong, and clearly was. But I guess on the doom meter, I don't put them as high. Like to me, changes will be happening, but I fully am convinced we'll have them back potentially in the conference semifinals or conference finals in the near future. And so that's the part that, like, I'm hard to put them high on the doom meter, because they've got so many options to potentially move a lot of these guys and reassess. And you got a year window now to do it without really any expectation if Tatum is out. You know what I mean? Like that's part of why I guess they're a little lower on the doom meter for me, and the silver lining, I guess you can put on it, at least with the Celtics.
So do you have them lower than, so I said the Bucks are 1. I think the 2 for me is kind of like the Grizzlies, and then like, I mean, we'll talk Warriors in a second, but then I think like the Clippers and Warriors are probably a little below that. But I think like the Grizz and the Cavs are up there as like, and again, we'll get to the Cavs in a second as well. But like they're probably behind Milwaukee for me. Like I don't know. Do you have Boston? Like where do you have them in that group? Because like for me, I think Boston is pretty close to like behind I don't know if Memphis is a little different because you won the title, but like I don't know, man. That Tatum injury is brutal. Like losing a whole year of a guy like that in your prime.
But I'm looking at it like, at least in the 3 that we've just added into the doom meter, Warriors, Cavs, Celtics, they're probably the bottom of those 3 in terms of like me being mostly worried about.
Dude, I think they're above the Warriors. You want to, and I think they're the Clippers. I think you can argue are above because the Clippers have never won.
Sure.
Boston winning does help a lot. Like that really does soften the blow of this, with that just happening last year. But I mean, the Warriors. Like the Warriors have also won recently. So it's like, I think the Warriors, the only sadness is that because Steph got hurt, you just feel like you missed a shot, right? Like, like Jimmy's also getting older, like Draymond is getting older. Like this core just isn't going to have many more runs. Yeah. And so when you had, in my eyes, like it wasn't a guarantee that you were going to beat Minnesota, but it's certainly like, I mean, I had them picking over Minnesota. Like you had a shot, you won the first game. And at that point, given how well you played in the second half of the season, like who knows? Maybe you do get to the conference finals and you make a run like this. Like it's the what if, which of course I don't think everyone else is, again, playing the smallest violin for the Warriors fans right now. Like the Warriors have been on the other side of some advantage on the what if on the injury front. But I mean, I think that's why, like you'll run it back next year as Golden State, and you'll still feel pretty good about it, and you don't really have to make any changes. Like Boston and me just losing Tatum, it's like you both have won recently enough to be like, hey, I'd rather still get my shot next year. Where it's like Boston, you're 2 years minimum away from competing for a title again now.
Yeah, but I would say, but at least with that, it gives the Celtics a longer window to adjust and be ready to make that run in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like it lets you develop some people, make changes, bring in, put out, like whatever you got to do. You've got now a year and a half. You've got a trade deadline. You've got 2 drafts. Like you have a window to do it now, and the expectations aren't there. Whereas like the Warriors is like, you know what you got, and you got to run it back next year. And that's, I would say, a little bit of the doom on that is like, what about this? Yes, you saw some positivity, but really you only got half a year out of it before an injury derailed the whole thing. And now you got to run the team back with a whole year. and hope for no injuries again, or you'll get derailed. And so that's why I almost put the Warriors over them a little bit, because the Celtics have a two-year window now, and Tatum's young enough that yes, you'll lose a year of prime Tatum potentially, but he'll be back and be good to go. Whereas the Warriors window feels like it's almost closed, and you got to run it back next year. And I think you saw what could happen, and you could beat the Timberwolves, and then you go up against Nuggets or Thunder. I didn't feel confident against them, against either of those teams, in this case. So, at least going off that, your best case scenario is making it to the conference finals, which is great. But then, with Steph, with Jimmy, like, your goal is win the whole thing. And I don't think that would have happened this year, regardless of injury. And so that makes me a little worried about, in the doom side of things, a little worried about, like, that was your best shot. We saw what it looked like when you were healthy. And I'm still not convinced that would have gotten you to the finals. I think it might have ended at the conference finals. I know it's a what if, but
that's tough though, because to me, they're just, with everybody else that's left, is like, there is a window. You could have talked me into winning the finals this year. Like, OKC is the only one left who I think is a step above everyone else, and OKC might be out after today.
That's fair. But if I'm sitting there looking at say the Warriors, because I also don't think if the Warriors were there, I don't think it would have happened in 5 games. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would have been a 6 or 7 game series. So, like, say the Warriors get through and it was a 6 or 7 game series. They're sitting there. We're waiting to find out Thunder Nuggets. Like, if I'm looking at that, I go, dang, the Warriors. Like, I am thoroughly going with either of those two teams. Pretty convinced going into that series that team will be the one that wins it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't disagree with that. And then the last team on the doom meter, as we start to wrap this episode up, is the Cavs. And the Cavs are high to me. Like, I've got the Cavs arguably at 2, right behind Milwaukee. This is just like, this Cavs core has now been 3 years in place, essentially, at this point, 3 or 4 years. And I mean, you already last year were at the point where, you start to have questions about what this team can do in the playoffs. Like, they got knocked out by Boston last year, and they had a little bit of an excuse with Donovan Mitchell being out, but it was like they struggled in the first round against Orlando. The series went longer than it should have. There never really was a world where I think anyone thought they were going to beat Boston either. And so you flamed out in the second round. You're flaming out in the second round again here. And, I think the reason that most of us had bought into this Cavs team, particularly this go around, is, I love the job that Kenny Atkinson did. You don't want to take that away, but, like, when you have such a dominant regular season like that, like, that is enough of one where you say, hey, I'm willing to give this another shot. Like, let's see how it goes. You go out. Again, a team that they're much better than, but you just blow the doors off Miami in the first round, and it's like, all right, they're here, they're ready to rock. And I know injuries played a factor. Like, you can't deny that Garland was limited by injuries. Hunter dealt with injuries. Mobley dealt with injuries. Like, they're like, that was valid to an extent. Man, the Pacers just beat the hell out of them. And it was a very convincing series win for Indy. And, this is, we talked about these teams being close in level, but so Indy beating Cleveland is not necessarily the surprise. You could have definitely talked me into that. It's the way, though. It's what we talked about earlier. Like, that was not supposed to be one-sided.
Nope.
Completely, Cleveland just looked out of sync the whole series. And it's like, even, that game 5 was on their home court. Like, they had leads in a lot of these games. I mean, especially game 2, of course, the most egregious. With the massive lead, and then just losing that last minute. And it did felt like that game just kind of broke them a little bit, even with winning that game 3. Like, game 4, that's essentially the series, and you come out and you just get dominated. Like, it's not just the fact that they lost, it's the way that they just got outclassed in every measure of the game. I don't know. And, like, there's going to be some changes naturally. Like, you look at a guy like Ty Jerome, for example, who played really well for them this year. He's probably due for a bigger payday at this point. Well, I think you're right back to the offseason rumors. It's like, do you move Garland? Like, I don't think you're going to move Donovan Mitchell, obviously, but
the problem you have is the core. With the core, the salary caps, you're over both the levels, so you don't have a lot of room to do anything. If you're like, we need a forward, we need a new center, or whatever it ends up being. You are probably going to have to move on from some of those guys and make changes and look at something different, which is what I think you have to do. I mean, you flamed out so royally. They're the fourth team to not reach the conference finals and have a 64 regular season win season. That's not good, you know? And
No,
so
yeah.
I'm with you in terms of their doom meter being higher because you do have to make changes now. And you saw how good this team is, and you worry that making those changes hinder the chemistry or hinder your ability to have another 64 game win season. But you also need to bring in players that are now going to be able to be either a veteran role or a presence in the locker room for the playoffs to make sure like everything stays together and doesn't have a whole panic situation like what feels like happened here. I mean, they were shooting, what was it? They had a 29% accuracy from 3-point percentage. Like that's low compared to the fact that they were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league during the regular season. So yeah, I'm with you. It's a lot higher because similar to the Celtics, they got to make changes, but not in the Celtics way. They don't necessarily have a leniency window, and you worry about the chemistry of this team because it was so good in this season. What will it look like next time? And what do you have to give up to get under some of those cap levels? And who can you add? And what do you need to take you to that next level? I don't know what that is right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it's, what's the big, do you really shake it up or do you try to just retool a little bit?
Right.
Like, do you look at moving Garland? Like, do you break the, interior duo up of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? You mentioned the paydays. Evan Mobley winning defensive player of the year is now in line for a much larger payday. Like, these questions are going to come home to roost for Cleveland here sooner than later. Yeah, the coaching change, like that was one of the big things where like they did upgrade, in my opinion, going from Bickerstaff to Atkinson, and that still wasn't enough to change the result. Like at some point, you just start to happen to look at these players, and it's unfortunate because this team's been a lot of fun. But I think you're right. Like when you go out, not making the conference finals after such a dominant regular season. I mean, of the teams left, the only team that could supplant them, in my eyes, is, and again, something we could very well be talking about in the next episode, is OKC, right? Like, if OKC goes down, mega disappointment. Like, I don't think they're not Milwaukee because you're not trading your superstar afterwards, but like, that's such a unique level of doom meter at this point. But like OKC, it's been title or bust the whole time. Like, if you flame out in the second round, given how well you played in the regular season.
The only caveat for the OKC in that case would be you didn't have enough experience because you have such a young team. Now you got a year of experience. Let's go get it. That's the only saving grace in that doom meter, in my opinion, that you would have to argue against it a little bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Driving Dish NBA podcast. We appreciate you guys as always. We know we haven't played Grid in a few weeks. Just a heads up, programming wise, both Justin and I are quite busy next weekend. Justin's got his daughter's birthday. I'm graduating from law school. So what we're going to do is we're probably, and again, TBD, so like work with us here a little bit. We're probably going to drop a shorter episode earlier in the week that will preview the Western Conference Finals, like once that's settled, and take a look back and do doom meter for either OKC or for Denver, depending how that plays out. And then we'll, of course, take a look at the series against Minnesota. We'll probably try to sneak some grid in on that episode. We don't want to leave you guys hanging there too long. But yeah, a lot of hoops to talk about. If you enjoyed the conversation, leave us a review on iTunes. If you are not an Apple user, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
Yep, and we're on YouTube, Driving Dish NBA on YouTube. Got video versions of the podcast. Like the podcast, you can subscribe there. You'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.